Live from America, you're listening to the Hip Hop Patriot, Jeremy Herrell.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, one and all. It is 5 o'clock Eastern Time, or it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and that somewhere is here right now. Thank you very much for joining in for Live from America here from the Live Free or Die state of New Hampshire. I am your ever so humble, God-fearing, and God-loving host, Jeremy Herrell, a.k.a. the Hip Hop Patriot. And the reason they call me that is because I was the one who wrote the song, Build the Wall, 10 feet, 20 feet, 100 feet tall. And I wrote songs like, it's the rebirth of America. It's been a long time coming, and you all see, there's tons of it. Drain the swamp, lock 'em up. So check them out. Any streaming site, any download site, any music site, Pandora, YouTube, anywhere. Check out all of those wonderful songs. Thank you guys very much. I'm so excited. I got a great guest for you tonight. We got Maggie Vandenberg, also known as Fog City Midge, joining in tonight, and she is a regular on Stephen K. Bannon's War Room. We're going to be talking about the fence and how her documentary and her videos actually put pressure on them to start taking those fences down. Ladies and gentlemen, get rid of them. If fences and walls work so well, then why don't we move? How about this? How about we take all of those fences and all that fencing, 3 miles of it, that are wrapped around the Capitol building, and let's not just get rid of them. Let's just ship them down to the southern border and help out down there. Sounds good to me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give some live shout-outs to those who are watching on the website and on YouTube right now. And for those who are listening on the podcast, thank you guys very much. And for those who watch later, just pretend like you're watching it live. Just like, comment, and share like you're watching it live. Remember, sharing is caring, and that is how we get out the Christian conservative view. Without you guys doing that, we are kind of stagnant, and you guys are action item audience. So I have no thoughts in my mind that you won't share the video out. So thank you very much. Let's give some shout outs here. Rosario Barbera, Cindy Gregg from Tennessee, Regina Johnson from Oklahoma, Douglas Cowgill, how you doing? He says, no one can stop the magnificent hip. You should have said no one can stop the magnificent hip hop. Then we could have made a song out of that one. Amanda Collins, how you doing? Give me some more good news. We got some good news for you. Some of the fences coming down, so that's a good news. Tina Hughes from Tennessee. Ashley Benke from Wisconsin. Linda Nadler from New Athens, Illinois. Well, we don't have very good news coming out of Illinois, but we'll talk about that in a little bit here. Mary Miller, how you doing? Give me those American flags and those red hearts. Madeline Dyer says, hello all. Joyce York, how are you? Thank you for joining in, Joyce. I'm well. I hope you're well too. Judy Heinold from Green Bay, Virginia. We got Justine Stimmel watching. Great to see you. She says, good to see you 2 times in one day. Well, I feel the same way. Kim Romansky, how are you? Karen Burnett from Michigan. We got Teresa Shelley says, are you going to do any concerts this summer? Yes, I am. Matter of fact, I was just invited down to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania to do a concert, and hopefully me and Dave Bray will be there together, and we will do Rebirth of America together. We'll give a couple more shout outs here before we get going, and this is the time that you guys should be copying the link and sharing the video. That way you're not, doing anything while we start the news. Diane Storino says fences started coming down late Sunday and yesterday too. That's right. Kevin Wilson from Michigan. And one more. Let's give it to, how about Terry Armstrong? He says, good evening. Love your show. Terry from Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining in, Terry. I appreciate you and your viewership. Thank you. God bless you. We're going to get right to it, folks, because we got a guest today, and we're probably going to be in an interview for quite a while at the end of the show, and I want to make sure that we have enough time to get everything in. But there's always time for God. There's always time for the capital G-O-D and Jesus himself, and we're going to give our time, our honor, our love, our attention right now in our worship to God in heaven, because without him, we're not here. Without him, we're not saved. Without Jesus, we're not saved. And without God, we don't have a positive outlook on this very evil world that we live in today. Here we go. March 23rd, year of our Lord, 2021, says this. And I love this. I love this. I read it earlier and I was like, oh, I can't wait to read this. It says, think big when you pray. Think bigly when you pray. But remember that I always think bigger. I look at the big picture, all the moments of your life, and I am doing more than you can ever imagine. You can talk with me about anything because I understand you perfectly. And think about this, okay? I try to convince my son that there's nothing that he can think about that I haven't already thought about. My son is like a carbon copy of me. He's like my mini-me. Okay? Now, if you guys have followed me on Telegram, you saw I posted a video the other day of me and my oldest daughter singing Rescue Story from Zach Williams, right? And you guys said, oh, your daughter is your mini-me. Steph Zeigeldorf says, shout out, please. There you go, Steph. You guys said, oh, your daughter is your mini-me. Well, my son is even more of a mini-me. And I try to tell him all the time, bro, there's nothing that you aren't thinking that I haven't thought of. There's no way that you're thinking that I haven't thought of in my life as well. You're just me, just a smaller guy. Well, the same thing here. God says there's nothing about you that I don't know. Talk with me. Bring anything you want to me because I know you perfectly. Okay? And he says, when you come to me, come big. Go big or go home. You ain't speaking with the devil here. You ain't speaking with your boss at your job. You ain't speaking with somebody that you want to get somebody to give you a promotion. You're speaking with the G-O-D, the head man in charge. So when you come to me, come big. And I love that. I love that. Remember, I tell you, God's always answering prayers. That references Ephesians 3:20, which says, now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. And it's also referencing Psalm 5:3, or if Joe Biden needs to understand it, Psalms 5:3. In the morning, O Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you and wait in expectation. The waiting is the best part. You know that song, the waiting is the hardest part? That's not true. The waiting is the best part. Your trials and tribulations are your best times. That's when you grow the most. That's when you find out who you are the most. That's when you find out what you're capable of with God's energy, God's power, God's wisdom, God's courage. Those times, ladies and gentlemen, those are the greatest times. I'm telling you, all glory to God, right? And before you turn out the light tonight, collaborate with me regarding your dreams and your desires. You never have to handle things alone. Man, every time I read the word, I don't care if it's morning, afternoon, or evening. Every time I read the word, it puts a smile on my face and I feel better. And I just got a message on Telegram a little while before coming on to the show where a lady, I won't say her name because I don't know if she wants me to say her name, but she came on and she said she doesn't know how to read the Bible. She doesn't know where to start. She doesn't know what book to start with. She has no idea how to read the Bible. And my advice to her was, start at the beginning. Start at the beginning and work yourself through it. You can even come up with plans. There's even apps that help guide you through the Bible. But here is my perfect summary of the Bible, okay? The Old Testament tells us of God's promise to defeat death and evil. The New Testament tells us how he did it. That's the best summary. That's the quickest and the best summary that I can give. The Old Testament tells us how he promises to defeat death and evil, and the New Testament tells us how he did it. And the best way to read the Bible is start at the beginning and work your way through. It might seem like a daunting task, but it's an amazing journey, and it's in a journey that you will then walk with Jesus. So that's my best advice that I can give you. If you have not done it yet, jump out of the chat real quick, and you see that little thumbs up button down there? Click that little thumbs up button, and let's get busy right here on Live from America, first and foremost section of the day. Wait a minute. What are you doing, Jeremy? You forgot the Lord's Prayer. Come on, man. Don't forget the Lord's Prayer. If you can, say it loud so God can hear it. If you can't say it loud, then say it internally with me so that your soul and your Holy Spirit can hear it. Ready? Here we go. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Woo! Like I said, I'm going to start giving out a Bible every Friday before we close out the show. So I cannot wait to give out the Bible this week. And hopefully the two ladies that I sent a Bible to already, hopefully they already got them. If they haven't, then they're on their way. So yes, and somebody also said YouVersion is a great app, and you're 100% right. Some of the verses that I send out in the morning are from YouVersion. Karen says, I received my beautiful Bible today. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Well, that's great, Karen. Remember, read the back, because there's an app that you can get, and it helps you go through the Bible. God bless. Man, praise God that you got that Bible. I'm so happy about that. Ooh, woo! That deserves some shares, folks. Share the video. All right, we're going to get into it. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, Bibi Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of our brother, or our sister, however you want to look at it, across the pond, Israel. America will always stand with Israel, and that is why we are a blessed nation, as Israel is also a blessed nation. Bibi Netanyahu, the polls closed today in their, fifth election in 3 years? Something like that. And it looks like, from exit polling, that Bibi Netanyahu, and they don't have mail-in ballots there, so you don't got to worry about that, will win again and have enough votes, have enough seats to reform everything and literally form a complete right-wing government. So, yes, there are people out there who do not like Bibi Netanyahu. There are Christians out there that say that they don't like him. But the alternative to running Israel is very, very bad. And I got to be honest with you, I like Bibi. He said some things before in the past that I don't like. I get it. We all have. Even I've said things that you don't like. But all in all, I like Bibi. He's the Donald Trump of Israel. I love the guy, and I can't wait to see more come from Bibi Netanyahu in the near future. So big shout out to him, and hopefully, Steven says he wants tracking bracelets. I've not heard that. Again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying that he didn't say it, but I've not heard that. And again, the alternative is a lot worse. The alternative would probably get Israel destroyed for good or completely taken over. So somebody says you keep freezing. Well, hopefully we can fix that here. Should be good. Let me just wait here for a second. Let me slurp my coffee. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we got about 2,000 people watching the show, and somebody said the volume is really low. I don't think the volume's low. Sounds real good to me. So he is making vaccines mandatory. Again, I haven't heard that either. I get what the alternative is what I'm talking about. The alternative is 10 times worse for the people of Israel. So All right, moving on. I want to tell you that I spoke with Senator Doug Mastriano's office today. We are setting up an interview with him for the month of May. I tried to get him in April, but April seems to be a very bad month for Senator Doug Mastriano. So we're going to try to get him in May. I spoke with his office today, and I also told them that by that time, if he wants to come on in May, we will already be on Roku, Fire Stick, and many other places. And I will talk about that in a little bit. But again, I told you guys earlier that these interviews that I'm working on having people come on, it's not as easy as saying, hey, you want to come on to some people? You gotta work, and you gotta schedule, and then things come up, and then they cancel it and come back, and it is what it is. But we're gonna get Senator Doug Mastriano on the show, as we've been trying to for a couple months now, and it looks like May is going to be the month to bring him on. So I'm very, very excited about that. All righty then, ladies and gentlemen, the shooter in Colorado has finally it's been put out, because they didn't want to put it out. They wanted it to be an old, fat, hairy, white guy with no shirt on, carrying a Confederate flag while he was holding two AR-15s that they call assault rifles. That's what they wanted it to be. Okay? That is what the media rushed to judgment and thought that it was. However, that is not true, ladies and gentlemen. He might have looked like he was a Caucasian man from far away, and maybe he was, because skin tone has nothing to do with anything. However, his name was Ahmed Al-Issa. He was 21 years old, and boy, did they rush quick, ladies and gentlemen. Did they rush fast to scrub his social media, but not fast enough. Somebody said the volume is too low. The volume is way up. I can turn it up a little bit more, but the volume is way up, guys. It's where it is every day. We'll turn it up right there, and hopefully that makes a difference. But they moved fast. The left moved really fast to scrub his social media, but in this day and age, it's not fast enough. Now, apparently, he moved here as a child from Syria. So here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. I told you earlier, we didn't have this kind of stuff under President Trump, and it isn't because criminals obeyed orders, okay? I am of the opinion, okay, and I might be wrong, I am of the opinion that all of this is tied. Isn't it funny that it happens, what happened in Atlanta a couple weeks ago and what just happened now? Isn't it funny that it's all happening right around the same time that they have like 3 or 4 gun bills in Congress voting on them? Isn't that weird? Doesn't that seem a little ironic to you that the only time we see these mass shootings and these mass criminal activities is when it's under Democratic rule and when they're already trying to cram through gun bills? Well, I'm going to show you something real quick, because this is when I said to you that it's not fast enough, that we the people are a lot faster at capturing things before you can delete them. Let me just show you a little bit of Mr. Ahmed Al-Issa's social media. Now, also, ladies and gentlemen, he hated Trump. Apparently he hated Trump, and he hated homosexuals, okay? So you would think that the left would be like, oh, he hated Trump. Blah, blah. They come up with something, right? Let me tell you what they ended up coming up with. But first, let's look at some of this social media first. Okay, here's one. The Muslims at the Christ Church Mosque were not the victims of a single shooter, he says. And I know you can't read it all because of my my bars at the bottom, but I'll read it all for you. He then goes on to say they were the victims of the entire Islamophobia industry that vilified them. He says, we may come from many different backgrounds, but we form one nation, humankind, Christ Church Massacre. I agree with him on one front there. We do all come from different backgrounds, but we're one nation, 100%. But let me just tell you, they weren't victims of the entire Islamophobia industry that vilified them. They were victims of one disgusting, crazy person with a gun. Period. Let's move on. Let's talk about some more, okay? Isn't it weird, he says, people who are always smiling and acting like they're having fun are some of the most depressed people on earth? And then people like me who don't bull crap anything, as in don't fake smile or just act normal, are some of the happiest, still happy. Stop acting like a fag, he says. Don't take anyone's you know what. Well, okay. Doesn't sound like you were a very happy guy. Sounds like you were very upset about some things based on what you did. Let's move on further. Here's one. Just curious, what are the laws about phone privacy? Because I believe my old school, A West, was hacking my phone. Anyone know if I can do anything through the law? Somebody says, what makes you think that? And he wrote at the bottom, which I know you can't see here, I believe part of it is racism for sure, but I also believe someone spread rumors on me which are false, and maybe that set it off, he says. Then he says, so Mary wears, I don't know what that means. So Mary wears a hijab, and Jesus doesn't eat pork and prays on his knees and hands. They're spelled that wrong. They're both Muslims. It's obvious, he says. So you're going to see screenshots more and more come out over the coming days from this guy, because again, you're not fast enough. You're not fast enough to scrub social media. They tried to scrub as much as they could. They got rid of it. Now, why? What's the reason? What's the reason you're scrubbing and getting rid of his social media? You don't want us to see anything? He sounds like a sick liberal. Aren't they all? Sounds like a sick liberal swamp donkey. Yeehaw! But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. The problem here is not guns. The problem here is not Islamophobia. Okay? This isn't 2000. This isn't 2001. All right? The towers didn't just go down. We've come a long way since then. This is one crazy liberal nut job with a gun who decided he wanted attention. That's what this is. That's what it always is. But I think there's a little bit more to it. I think the left pushes these people and uses this as an agenda. Don't you? That is my opinion. But wouldn't you know it, ladies and gentlemen, they rush right to, the liberals can't find a camera fast enough. They can't find a camera fast enough to start pushing gun control. And now Biden has come out, resident corn pop himself, has come out fully masked up so nobody can understand him. And he's now calling for gun control. Okay? He's calling for gun control, and he's urging Congress to pass gun control measures, basically banning what they call assault rifles. Okay? Now, Obama has come out today and made two statements. And Obama said that the reason this guy did this, apparently he knows him. Apparently, well, they probably are brothers. But apparently he knows him. And he came out today and he said that the reason that this guy did this stuff was because, are you ready for this? This is going to blow your mind. Because of a life filled with racism. That's the first one. Racism caused this. Racism caused this, and the gun violence in this world, he says, is a bigger pandemic than the CCPV. Gun violence is a bigger pandemic than the CCPV, okay? And racism is what caused this. And not only racism, but a lifetime full of neglect, which caused him to be antisocial. So people that knew him said he was very antisocial. So Obama says, well, that's because of neglect. And then people said that he did this out of anger or whatever, and Obama said, well, that's because of racism. Oh, of course it is. Me and Michelle, we believe that this was a form of racism. He wouldn't have done this if the world wasn't racist towards him. Okay? And I continue to believe that if he wasn't neglected as a child, he wouldn't be antisocial. And he wouldn't have anger problems. How about just blame him, Barack Hussein Obama? How about just blame the guy with the gun that killed the people? Can we just do that? Can we just blame the guy with the gun and not the gun? If somebody cuts his hand off with a sawzall or a skill saw, we're not going to blame the sawzall and ban them. We're not going to be out on the front lines with picket signs screaming for Craftsman and Makita to be banned. We're not going to blame Milwaukee or DeWalt because some guy cut his finger off with a skill saw, dummies. What is going on here, you guys? What is going on? Blame the skill saw. Blame the sawzall. Blame Craftsman. Blame DeWalt. Nope. I'm going to blame 21-year-old, clearly unstable, liberal, left-wing, homophobe Ahmed Al-Issa. That's who I'm going to blame, ladies and gentlemen. I think he had some more down here. Oh yeah, here's some more. Let me show you some more screenshots of his. And it says here, let's see. He says, "O people, listen to me in earnest worship. Allah, say your 5 daily prayers, fast during the month of Ramadan, and give your wealth in zakat. Perform Hajj if you can afford to." The last sermon of the Prophet Muhammad. You know, the one who says it's okay to sleep with and marry 9-year-olds. Yeah, that guy. He says, yeah, if these racist Islamophobic people would stop hacking my phone and let me have a normal life, I probably could. He then posts an Xbox symbol with rainbow flag in it. So apparently Xbox must have put out a rainbow flag logo of theirs at some point honoring homosexuals or something. And he wrote on the top, "Fagbox loses, PS4 wins." And apparently this is him when he was a child. You know, wasn't his fault. Nothing is ever their fault. It was the gun's fault, it was racism's fault, and it was neglect's fault. Never the person who did something wrong though, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move on to today's first Dum Dum Award. And you know what? I was born in the state of Illinois, okay? I despise the state of Illinois. I can say that because I was born there. For all you out there who are watching from Illinois, I don't despise you. I just despise the state of Illinois. Like, very badly, okay? And I always knew that Illinois does dumb things, especially Chicago. Chicago should be its own state. Leave the rest of Illinois alone. Chicago and the suburbs, that's the problems. That's the problem. Aurora, Evans, all those, you know, Aurora and Evanston and Joliet, all those suburbs outside of Chicago, they should all just be their own state and leave the rest of Illinois alone because those are good people, all right? But in Illinois fashion, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to get the Dum Dum Award of the day today, and I will show you why. Because Illinois, Evanston, Illinois, becomes the first U.S. city to pay reparations to black residents. If this is not an insult, if this was me, I would take this as an insult. I would. Okay? But Evanston, Illinois City Council on Monday approved funding for reparations to be given to the city's black residents over discrimination against their ancestors. The plan was approved 8-1 and will distribute $400,000 to eligible black residents. Okay? How do you qualify? Well, don't worry. They'll tell you right here. Oh man. The plan was approved 8-1. Like I said, in order to qualify, residents must provide proof that they have an ancestor who lived in Evanston between the years 1919 and 1969, who was discriminated against because of city ordinances, policies, or practices. Qualifying households will receive up to $25,000 to be put toward home repairs or property down payments. The Evanston program was first proposed by Alderman Rue Simmons, the architect of the Evanston Local Reparations Restorative Housing Program and program budget. Simmons noted that the city is prepared for any legal challenges that might transpire. All right, well, then you say to yourself, well, where does the money come from? Where does the $400,000 come from? And how are because we're supposed to track down our parents and our grandparents who are probably passed away and find out if they lived in Evanston, Indiana between the years of 1919 and 1969? Can we say living in the past? Okay? Most people don't even know what was going on then. Most people don't know if they had ancestors that lived there back then. But now you're gonna have a plethora of people trying to fraud the system that they had ancestors that lived there. They're going to try to make stories up that were worse than stories probably were. There's going to be a bunch of people that you can't verify. And in the end, Evanston, Indiana is going to end up paying more than that $400,000 because give somebody an inch and they'll take a mile. I don't care if you're white, black, green, blue, or purple, or if you're from Earth, Jupiter, Mars, or Mercury. You give somebody an inch, they will take a mile. You know where they're getting the money from? Well, at first I thought it was just going to be taxpayer money. And it kind of is going to be taxpayer money, but it isn't just going to come from your taxes as if you were, paying the city taxes. It's actually coming from marijuana sales. So let's legalize pot, get everybody stoned, all right? Get everybody buying dope from the city, and then take that money and then give it back to people who had ancestors that lived there at that time that felt oppressed, so we're going to give them a home. If that doesn't take out all of the incentive to work hard, to create your own life, create your own way, okay? What about me? I grew up in a trailer park, all right? I grew up in a trailer park picking up cans on the side of the road. Do I get money? Look, it isn't about oppression because of a color of a skin. Poor people are oppressed against constantly. It's up to you to get out of that life. If you grew up poor, if you grew up picking cans on the side of the street, again, I don't care what color you are, it is up to you to get out of that slump. And guess what? That's the American dream. That is what makes this country so great, that you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps and boom. I tell you. All right, White House confirms, ladies and gentlemen, that Barack Hussein Obama is actually speaking with Joe Biden on a regular basis, consulting with him, ladies and gentlemen, consulting with Biden, basically telling him what to do on a range of issues. The White House has finally come out and admitted that. Think about that. This is Obama's third term. He's just telling Joe what to do. Right before Joe took the reins of power, he actually said out of his own Barack Hussein Obama mouth, he actually said that he would love a world where he could sit in his sweatpants and basically give orders to the White House. And that's exactly what he's doing. So the White House has confirmed that Barack Hussein Obama is consulting on a regular basis with resident corn pop himself, letting him. So now we know who the puppet master is. We always thought we knew who the puppet master is, but now we know who the puppet master is. George Soros's golden boy, Barack Hussein Obama. We know now 100% sure who the puppet master is. Okay? More stupid news about Democrats. Democrat lawmakers are pushing the VA. Get this. This makes me sick and it makes my blood boil. Democrat lawmakers are pushing the VA to strip benefits, any benefits from veterans who attended the January 6th at the Capitol building. If you were in D.C. on January 6th for the Capitol building event, okay, even if you didn't go in, which many people didn't, the Democrat lawmakers are pushing the VA to strip your benefits. Doesn't matter if you fought for this country or not. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you were in January 6th, if you were in D.C., ladies and gentlemen, and you were a veteran, the Democrats are pushing to take care to strip your benefits away from you. How disgusting is that? Okay, I am going to work now on bringing in my guest, Fog City Midge. But while she's waiting to come in, I'll move on to the next story because that makes me sick and I don't even want to talk about that. But just know that the whole thing is ridiculous, and to pull a veteran's benefits because they decided to go to Washington D.C. on January 6th just lets you know how bad these Democrats really are. They don't even care about our veterans. They never have and they never will. Never have and they never ever will. All right, while we're waiting for her to come on, 2 border Democrats, one in Arizona and one in Texas, have announced their retirement ahead of the 2022 election cycle. And the reason why they have announced their retirement is because of the issues that are going on at the border and the crisis that's going on at the border and how many people are reaching out to them. This is what's awesome about this audience and the audience that watches like Stephen K. Bannon's War Room show and stuff like that. Action item people. They get on these representatives. So, 2 border Democrats. 1, Representative, I don't even know if I could say this, Philemon Vela from Texas, a Democrat from Texas, and an Arizona Democrat, Representative Ann Kirkpatrick. Both of them, ladies and gentlemen, have said that they are not going to run in 2022 and they are retiring. So if you live in those areas, you know what to do. You know what to do if you live in those areas, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it looks like we got Maggie coming on. I want to make sure that she can hear me. Maggie, are you there?
I'm here. Hi.
Hi. Can you click?
Oh, there we go.
There
Hi.
you go. All right. Let's see if. Oh, you look. Oh, it's perfect. You look great. All right.
Yeah, looks okay. Good.
Yeah, you look good. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is, well, some of you know her as Fog City Midge. Some of you know her as Maggie. Do I say it? Vandenberg? Is that how you say it?
Yes, you got it right. Maggie Vandenberg.
Maggie
it looks
Vandenberg.
harder than it is.
It looks harder than it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring her on right now. Say hello to Maggie Vandenberg, or Fog City Midge. She's been a friend of mine for a long time. I actually seen her down in CPAC, but we didn't get a chance to talk because we were so busy down there. I wanted to see and talk to so many people that I didn't get a chance to. But Maggie, what was your experience of CPAC this year? What'd you think of it? What'd you take away from it?
I mean, personally, I don't think I would have gone to CPAC this year. I was not planning on going. You know, I mean, CPAC is not as fun if it's not an election year. But because of everything that's going on, and because they had moved it from DC down to Orlando, and because I recently relocated to Florida, I thought, you know, this is sort of a place where I think whatever's going to happen next is probably going to start here with these people. So I wanted to be there and, you know, see for myself and sort of cover the event. But, you know, I was so disheartened after what happened, you know, with the stolen election and what happened on the 6th, and, you know, just sort of seeing so many weak Republicans throw Trump under the bus. You know, I was sort of like, I'm so disheartened, I don't really even want to go. But because of the reasons that I already explained, you know, I kind of had to be there. So, you know, it was a busy CPAC for a non-election year. And I think there was a lot of sort of excitement despite this sort of, you know, the loss. But, you know, I don't even call it a loss, the stolen election.
Yeah,
let's be real.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, and that's really, I think, why I'm upset, and a lot of other people are very upset. Oh,
lost your feed. There you go.
Sorry, I got to put this on do not disturb, because that's a problem. Like, people call me and then I get cut off. So, but yeah, so I think a lot of people were really upset after what happened, and to see, you know, especially what happened on the 6th, so many Republicans use that as an opportunity and an excuse to throw Trump under the bus.
Yeah.
And to not stand up. And they certified a fraudulent election at the end of the day. So, you know, it's sort of like, why would we continue to support these weak, spineless Republicans? You know, we went out there, we put everything on the line to fight for Trump and to fight for our country, and turned out in unprecedented numbers. I mean, that's why they had to stop the counting in the middle of the night, so they could make up the difference, because Trump was ahead by, you know, such a landslide. And, you know, it's just so shameful to see what's happening in our country. So,
yep.
But I mean, I was surprised by the excitement and the enthusiasm down at CPAC. I think a lot of people are trying to look ahead and see what can be done. Well, so I don't know if that was your impression, but that was my experience.
I'll tell you what, before we get to the real reason why we brought you on, I will tell you what I thought of CPAC. It was my first time there. I've never had the pleasure of going to CPAC. I was there as media, and I was working a lot with Ben Berkwam, Real America's Voice News, and many others, and got a lot of great.
Ben.
Yeah, love Ben. Got a lot of great interviews. Spent time with Jenna Ellis and John Fredericks, and, you know, people from the Epic Times and people from Right Side Broadcasting, and that was the greatest part of CPAC. The part that I didn't like, and I'm, you know me, I'm right out with it. Part that I didn't like was, I didn't realize how many elitists there were in the Republican Party. How many I'm better than you, who are you, I'm not talking to you, holier than thou, elitist Republicans. And that was the only part I didn't really like so much. But I did go away from there with positive, feedback and great interviews, and I met a lot of great people, and it's only going to further Live from America. So, I'm very happy with the outcome of it. I just didn't realize how many. But you're always probably going to get that with that kind of event. You're always going to get those elitists in every market and every genre of everything that you don't like.
Well,
but so
and I think
that's
it's
my
funny
only
because
gripe.
yeah, and I think there's always kind of been that vibe at CPAC, to be honest. And that's why, Trump really shook things up, because the establishment Republicans, the old guards, the gatekeepers, so to speak, they liked things the way they were. The Republican Party was completely reimagined and, reinvigorated because of Donald Trump, getting things back to common sense policies that Americans on both the left and right have been wanting to see our politicians get done for years and years. And Trump brought all of these people who had just been sort of tuned out from politics into the party. So, the MAGA movement is very different than sort of the old conservative Republican, GOP people of the past. So, it's funny because those people still, they do always go to CPAC. So it's funny because I feel like half the people at CPAC are kind of that old people, right? The people from pre-Trump who still don't really like his style. They don't like the tweets. They don't like, that they want to go back to kind of the way things were. And those are the same people that threw Trump under the bus. And then you've also got all these new people, a lot of young people, a lot of positive energy, a lot of punchy Republicans, people like yourself, people like myself, who are just sick to death of the swamp and what we see, the direction we've been watching our country go in for so many years. And with Donald Trump coming in, there was all this excitement and enthusiasm to get our country back on track. Yeah. And so all of these people who felt like, I can't relate to these politicians, they see someone like Donald Trump, who is a businessman, who is kind of just like, he's also, it's funny, for a billionaire, he's very relatable. It's like he gets the toys, he's got big family, he's been divorced, he's got the kids, but he's like a real American. And I think a lot of people can relate to him. And he's kind of this tough New Yorker, and he speaks his mind, and he's not always politically correct. And I think people really loved seeing that in Donald Trump and felt like, well, that gives me permission then to be a conservative as well and to become part of this party.
Well, it's definitely a new party. It's definitely a new party now, and we're not letting it go. You're going to have to pry it from our dead, cold, lifeless fingers. Okay, so why I brought you on today was the fence is starting to come down in our nation's capital. What are we, day 75 of military occupation on our soil in the U.S. Capitol? We can't go into our Capitol building. We can't go see our representatives. They're starting to pull down some of the fence. But before they were starting to pull down some of the fence, you were on the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon, and you went out and you did a small documentary. You put a short film together of what your experience was, what your view was of this military occupation and this wall. Apparently, the walls don't work, but they work there. But it seems like the pressure that you put on, the pressure that Bannon and others who were down there, and I got other friends who were down there who were constantly recording things, constantly reporting on what's going on down there. It seems like that pressure is finally starting to work. Can you kind of elaborate on what you did, what you've seen, and what you're starting to see now? And is it just optics, or are they really taking down the fence?
Yeah, so it's funny. So I was seeing a couple pictures here and there of what was going on in DC, but I felt like I wasn't really getting the full picture, and no one in the media was really covering this other than War Room, which every single day they were giving updates. It's day 60 of the occupation here in DC, and sort of talking about it. And then Raheem would show a little bit of it sort of in his post, but there really wasn't like a proper expose about what was happening at our Capitol. So I went to DC with the intention to make this video, and I mean, I was so surprised. I had no idea. I thought it was just a fence kind of around the Capitol, protecting the Capitol itself, but it's not. It's actually extended. It's actually 3 miles of fencing around not just the Capitol, but the buildings surrounding the Capitol, and you cannot get anywhere close. And they have got the razor wire up. There's actually a second layer of fencing, so there's sort of the first and second layer. You have to go through a security checkpoint just to be able to enter any of the Capitol grounds.
Wow.
And it's just disturbing. It doesn't look like America. And it's funny because when I actually drove around the entire perimeter and took a video, and I mean, it takes about half an hour with all the road closures and everything to get around the entire thing. So even the video that I cut together was a very abbreviated version of all of the Capitol fencing. It's actually shocking when you really take it in. And so as I was going around the Capitol on foot, I saw some people who were out there either protesting or praying or just sort of neighbors who live near there. And I asked people their impressions. And, it was really poignant to speak to, regular average Americans and to get their thoughts on what statement is this, occupied territory of our Capitol, this fencing, this military presence, what kind of message is this sending to the people of our country? And also, what does this say about the people who make the decision to have this fencing up? And, their responses were really poignant. And so I cut together this little short film and we played it on War Room. And, if your audience wants to check it out, tell them to check it out. It's on my YouTube page. It's on my Rumble. Guys, please go follow me on Rumble. It's so sad. I'm trying to get some movement there. And I've got I think, 300 or 400 followers.
Yeah, you know what? Rumble's a hard one, but
it's hard, but we got to get over there. I'm trying to get off of the big tech, but it's so hard because you get the eyeballs. Well, so guys, follow me there too.
And it's all Fog City Midge, right? Fog City Midge. FOG City MIDGE. Fog City Midge, right?
Exactly. So Fog City Midge on Rumble. Check out that video. Please follow me. Actually, I do think I have 1,700 subscribers now, so I don't want to misspeak. But the videos, they get 100 views. It's so sad. But yes, so if people check that out, it's actually very powerful little short film. So we played it on War Room. And this, I have to say, this just speaks to the power of the War Room audience, because when you drop something on War Room, it ends up becoming a big thing. And all of a sudden the pressure starts getting put on these politicians. The phone calls start coming in to people. The media picks up on it because the entire media watches that show. People both on the left and the right. And it's so funny how many things will break on that show that will then slip into getting covered on CNN or MSNBC or in the Washington Post, because they know that if it gets brought up on War Room, they do have to address it. And obviously they'll try to spin it to, push their narrative, but it does get picked up. So it's really remarkable just how big that show has become. I believe it's the #1 political podcast in the world at this point. So it's really an amazing audience that Steve Bannon's been able to build up. And I was, I'm honored to be a contributor on the show. So it was really cool to play that video and just to see sort of that kick off this sort of pressure campaign, and then just Steve's repeatedly talking about it, Raheem covering it and bringing it up. And, he has his site called the National Pulse. So they've been writing it up every single day. So I think it's sort of this confluence of coverage that no one else is really talking about. But, all of a sudden, within even a few days, they started taking down parts of the fence. Now, I don't know whether they're just doing it to get the positive feedback. Oh, it's coming down. But they are making it a smaller footprint, right? So it's getting brought in. If it was across the street, now it's on the other side of the street. Now it's shrinking. It's getting pushed back sort of, street by street. Now, I don't think they have plans to bring down the whole thing, because they could take it all down in probably a day and a half, 2 days if they wanted to, but they're sort of just slowly shrinking it. And I don't know if that's to sort of, give better, more positive optics that this is moving in the right direction and coming down, or whether they just kind of want to kick the media back so that they get off their backs. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting. It's bizarre. It's strange to see what's happening at our Capitol. And, it's awesome to see the conservative audience calling out the hypocrisy that, Nancy Pelosi and these congressmen and women and these Democrats can have a fence and security and military presence to protect themselves, but that they cannot secure our southern border. And right now, what is happening at our southern border is a true crisis. And it isn't just a crisis for the people coming over, it's a crisis for them as well, because we've got people being trafficked, we've got children being smuggled, we've got drugs, we've got terrorists coming across our southern border, we've got people from the Middle East who are coming in through Mexico, who are paying these cartels to bring them in.
And let me tell you this too: it's not a crisis. I've been saying this on my show for the last 4 or 5 days. It's a crime. The Biden administration, and I don't say presidency, I say residency. Drop the P like Jen Psaki, right? The Biden residency is committing crimes every single day by not only enticing these people to come across our border illegally. Every single person that comes across illegally is a felony. That's a felony. Okay? So not only are they enticing that, but they're also complicit in drug trafficking, human trafficking, rapes, cartels becoming huge again. Like, they're complicit in all of this, and I want to see attorney generals actually bring the Biden residency up on charges. I mean, if you're gonna drag President Trump's name through the mud and try to impeach him on words he didn't say, then let's actually bring charges up on a resident who actually is saying words and is enticing these people to come, literally told them to come, and now this is all happening. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? I think it's way bigger than a crisis. I think it's a crime.
Yeah, you're correct. And it's funny. I call it the Biden regime.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's it wasn't an election. It was stolen, right? It was a coup. So we've got the Biden-Harris regime, and I'll sort of. I do believe that this is all intentional. They're pretending, they're playing dumb, like we didn't know that this was going to happen. Of course they knew it was going to happen. Yeah. They were sending out the message. They were sending out these clear signals to come here that we're going to bring back catch and release, that the people who show up, they're going to be released into our country, and they know that they can get all kinds of benefits when they show up here, and that it's basically going to be a free-for-all with the eventual goal of giving people amnesty and citizenship. So why wouldn't you come here? There are people all across the world waiting in line to come in as legal immigrants into the United States. But if you can just show up at the southern border, why would you do it the legal way, which costs a lot of money? Yeah. So it's absolutely outrageous, and it's obviously intentional. And I mean, and it's terrifying too, just because long term, this isn't a sustainable option for the United States. Our country is no longer going to remain America when you have so many people who come in who don't speak the language, who don't have the education to be active members in our economy, and when so many of our jobs are now also being sent overseas, back to Mexico, out to China. Our manufacturing is going overseas again. So it's like a confluence of so many bad things, as well as we're in this pandemic situation. So if people are coming over who are sick or who aren't tested, or who we don't know, they could have a variety of diseases, not just COVID or whatever. So it's like, I just can't believe that the Biden administration can sit there and pretend like this isn't happening when if Trump did anything even remotely similar to this, they would be attacking him nonstop. Oh yeah. So it's completely sick and it's infuriating, and I feel like nothing that's happening in our country right now is legitimate. First of all, like, we had an election stolen from us, so every single thing that they're doing is illegitimate. Right. So it's like,
we already broke the law once. We got away with it once. Give them an inch, they take a mile. Got away with it once, and here they go. I do have to ask you though. I have a lot of people asking me. Number one, how does the military treat you when you're down there taking video, or do they talk to you at all? And number two, and you may not be able to answer this because it's a hard question to answer. Everybody's asking that they keep hearing that their weapons that the military have down there are not loaded. And some people are hearing that they are loaded. Yeah. So do you have an answer for either one of these?
So let me tell you. So when I was walking around taking video, most of them didn't really care. If anything, some of them would kind of like shrug, like maybe give me a nod in a way. They won't speak to me as a member of the media while they're in uniform. I believe they're not allowed to. But yeah, they were okay with me filming them. I mean, I walked around, nobody questioned me, nobody bothered me. And the people who were out there protesting, exercising their First Amendment rights, they were completely respectful that they were out there and doing their thing. Now, what's interesting is I was sort of in like the park across from the Capitol fencing area. If you watch the video, it's at the end of the video. And every single person that walked by said, "Hey, can I interview you? I'm doing an interview about the fence, sort of what's your impression of the military presence here?" And, a lot of people don't want to be on camera, or they're camera shy, or they work, in the area or for the government, and they can't, they're like, I don't want to be on camera. But it's funny because one guy that I talked to, he said, "I can't be on camera." He said, "I'm actually deployed here." He's like, I'm off duty at the moment. I'm in my civilian clothes getting lunch. And I said, "Hey, what real quick question, off the record." I said, "Is it true that you guys don't have any ammo in your guns?" And he said, "Yeah, that's true." He said, "We don't have any ammo, none of us." He said, all of our guns, they're empty." And I said, "That's so bizarre." And he goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "Is that normal?" And he was kind of like,
"So you're telling me?"
And he said, "We don't really know why we're here."
So you're telling me that the military gentleman said himself, A, we don't know why we're here. B, that none of our guns are loaded. However, Nancy Pelosi, Fort Pelosi, Stretchface Armstrong herself, has the military down there because there's a high threat level of white supremacists, white nationalists, reality denialist terrorists, and 3%ers and Proud Boys ready to attack them at any moment. But yet they don't have any ammo in their guns. Isn't that a little bit... Doesn't that not work?
I mean, to me, I can't fully make sense of it, but if I had to guess, I would speculate that this is because it's about optics, right?
Yes.
I feel like so much what is happening right now in our country is a movie. This is a staged Hollywood production, similar to what happened on the 6th. So you've got these, instigators, agitators, you've got the people who are giving the media the optics that they want. And so what's happening around our Capitol right now is a staged event. It is about optics. I don't know if they don't have ammo because they don't feel it necessary. I don't know if they don't have ammo because they're afraid of the military turning on them. I don't know if they don't have ammo because, it's against the rules in DC. I actually don't know the decision behind that. I don't know. Maybe it's a common protocol that when the military is deployed in these situations, they don't. I actually just don't know, but I do find it very odd because if there was an active threat, you would think that people would need the firepower to be able to stop an active threat from coming in. So it's bizarre. It didn't make any sense to me. It's just another added layer to the confusion. But the fact of the matter is that the reports have been sealed. Basically, like, reports were done that confirmed that there really is no threat, but Pelosi hasn't come out and sort of explicitly said, well, what intel do you have that's sort of justifying the presence of the military here and this level of fencing and razor wire? Why? Show us the justification. Show us the intel that is coming out that is saying, like, yes, we have these reports, or we found these groups forming militia groups online or whatever. There's nothing of the sort that exists. So it seems like the whole thing is just optics driven at this point, because what other reason would we have to have these people out there?
Well, you're right, and like Bannon says, show us the receipts. If this is real, if this is true, if this threat is real, show us why it's real. Don't just continue with these optics. Now, we did have somebody in the chat say, why would you tell the public this so they can be attacked, talking about the military? It's not about that, Diane. It's about the fact that we are being occupied by our own military. Our own military is somehow turned against us and making us to fear the elitists that are running our house that we pay for with the salaries that we pay them to do this. So
also clarify for your viewer, it's not about, I don't think, even if like there were to be an uprising, it's not about people attacking our military. It's about people, the presumed threat would be to the people in our government who have, usurped the elected government and basically installed a fraudulent regime. That's what, they're afraid of an uprising from we the people. I think that's like the real fear. And it's also bizarre to me though, because they've got to have some ammo. Like, I don't know, like, why would they? I have to imagine they've got to have some firepower somewhere, just none of their guns are loaded. Right. So It's just very strange. And this is not a big secret either. A lot of people have been saying the same thing. And a lot of people in DC, like if you ask anyone, everyone's like, oh yeah, we know that. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of reports about it as well. I'm not saying anything that is not known, if you look into it. So yeah, this is not a huge secret, but it's also not something that I think the general public is widely aware of.
Right. So again, folks, you can check out her little short or documentary, whatever you want to call her, video about walking around and seeing what this fence looks like. I believe it's, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Maggie, but I think it's like 3 miles of double fence. It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, you guys can check her out on Instagram, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere, really, at Fog City Midge. Mags, what are you doing next? What is your next project going to be in DC or anywhere? What are you doing next?
I was hoping to make it down to the border, and then of course they're like shutting the media out of everything, and it's just so dangerous. So I don't know. I might be going down to the border. Currently, right now, I'm in West Palm Beach, and I'm just trying to keep up on exposing, the Biden regime and everything that they're doing. It's almost like the news is moving so quickly with just all of the obnoxious bills and measures and everything that they're trying to push through. It's so difficult to keep up with, honestly. I wish I had like 10 of me, but it's crazy. Yeah. And the mainstream media is not covering any of this stuff. So if people want to follow me I post hourly updates on my Instagram stories, and I post daily videos there. I'm on Telegram too. And then I post my own content videos on YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. So yeah, it's just busy trying to keep up and keep pushing the truth out there. But yeah, I'm hoping to make it to the border and to show people really what's going on, because the mainstream media is not going to cover it.
Well, let me just tell you, and I don't know if this is the place to break the news to you and to invite you, and we can have a conversation off air. But Live from America is actually growing a lot bigger, quicker. We are going to be on Roku, Fire Stick, Pluto, Apple TV, all of that very soon. I'm in the process of growing the show to those platforms now, and I would love to have you on as much as I possibly could, even with your own show, because I'm building a small network of my own, and Ben's going to be involved in helping me do that. Will Johnson and others who've been here from the beginning, and we've stuck it out, and so I'm growing a lot bigger, and I would love to have you on regularly as a contributor, or even your own slot, because it's going to be a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week exposing what's going on in this regime, and getting people to understand the Constitution, letting people understand, trying to basically, teach people how to take the power back in their own municipalities, their own localities, and their own states, because states have more power than the federal government. And yeah, we wrapped, I don't know if you saw it down at CPAC, but we wrapped a massive bus, the Save America Freedom Tour bus, and we're actually going to be taking that bus state to state, and we're taking it to the border as well. So maybe if you don't get to the border by the time we go, maybe you can jump on that bus with me and Ben and go down there. And I know that I know Real America's Voice and others are trying to get as many people as they can who are influencers and who do shows like you and me to get down to the border all together. So I'll keep you, I'm sure you run in the same circles as I do, but I'll keep you informed. And if there's anything else,
please do.
Yeah.
I think the more people that get down there, one, there's safety in numbers, but two, we just need more people down there exposing what's happening. And I love Ben. I've been working with Ben for a couple of years. He's great. So yeah, anything you guys do, let me know, and I'd love to be down there.
All right. Well, if there's any last thing that you would like to say, we got about 2,500 people watching on YouTube right now. And then, of course, there's people on the podcast and on the website as well. If there's anything that you would like to say, now is your time.
Well, guys, just thank you for watching, and just thank you, everyone, for their support. And if you're watching on YouTube, guys, please also follow me on YouTube at Fog City Midge. Whenever I put out content, it helps just to get more eyeballs on there, because yeah, I mean, when I have a monetized video, it helps to have the eyeballs. So when they're not trying to demonetize and crush me, it's nice to have to reach some people. So it's good.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, thank you for the platform.
You're very welcome.
We all just keep fighting back. Like, It's nonstop. And these people, these tyrants in charge, they want to do everything they can to crush people like myself, like you, who are trying to get the truth out there. And, they try to do everything they can, from the shadow banning to the demonetization. And, it can be, it can be really like frustrating sometimes, but we just have to stick with it, and all the more just keep pushing to get the truth out there, no matter how much they try to crush us.
I agree. Well, Mags, thank you very much as always.
Thanks for
it's
having
great
me on.
talking
Good
to
to see you.
Good to see you too, and I'll talk to you more off air. So thank you. God bless you, and be safe out there. Okay.
Sounds good. God bless.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. All right, you guys. That was Fog City Midge, again Maggie Vandenberg, and she's been a great friend of mine for a long time. And make sure you follow her. And again, maybe her and me and Steve Bannon and everybody will team up here soon. We got a lot of things in the work. I do want to tell you quickly before we move to one last story. I had about 4 stories, but the interview lasted a little longer. The Roku and the Fire Stick move that I'm about to make. I had a long discussion with the company that's facilitating the live video and everything. And I'll still be here on YouTube, and I'll be on Rumble and everywhere else as well. But I had a long talk with them today, and they are not in the business of censorship at all. They said that they hate what's going on in the world with censorship, that their entire focus is to give people a platform for them to create their own content, because the world needs a diverse amount of information and a diverse amount of point of views. And I had a long talk with them today to make sure that the money that Live from America is going to be shelling out to them to facilitate this growth isn't going to go to waste. And they're not going to censorship. They want this show to grow. They've seen it. It will be accepted on all these platforms, and it will never, ever, ever be taken off. So if you're watching on YouTube, that's great. If you watch on Rumble, that's great. But you'll now be able to watch on Roku and Fire Stick as well, and then Pluto and Dish after that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are growing. And even though Fire Stick is Amazon, the company that I'm going through does not use AWS. And they said once you're on there, it's not like social media where they have algorithms that try to kick you off and catch keywords. Once you're on there, you're on there. And we've got a good agreement going on. And hey, the more places we are, the better. And I can't wait to do that. I want to give one more shout out, and I want to show one more video. Project Veritas wins their first stage of their lawsuit with the New York Times, the failing, lying New York Times. And then after that, James O'Keefe, who I got the pleasure of interviewing down at CPAC, actually went to Mar-a-Lago today and had a nice little video with President Donald J. Trump. So I'd like to play that video for you right now.
Congratulate Project Veritas on their big win on the New York Times. Now the suit will continue, and whatever you can do for their legal defense fund, we're with them all the way. They do incredible work. They find things that nobody would even believe possible. So James, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Again, guys, just like me and Right Side Broadcasting and many others, we're all viewer funded. I will never, ever sell out to corporations. I will always be for you, about you, because I am one of you. And I can't wait for this show to grow even bigger. There's like 80 million people between Roku and Fire Stick for us to go out there. And word of mouth is going to be huge. So spread the show to all your fans, our friends, family members, church members, everybody. Let's grow this show. And it's all done by word of mouth and sharing. That's the end of the show today, guys. That's the end. Thank you for watching Live from America. We'll be back at 11 o'clock tomorrow. We have great interviews coming up with PatriotFoods.com. Patriot Foods, that great business. We have an interview with them on Friday, and we're trying to get Pastor James Coates from Canada, who was just released from jail for having worship services. And of course, we're trying to get Senator Doug Mastriano, Jenna Ellis, and many, many more. Remember, there are right ways. There are wrong ways, but there's only one Yahweh. So stand up tall, keep your shoulders back, keep your chest out, and keep your head up high, because you are a child of God, and no weapon formed against you will ever prosper. I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. for more Live from America with your favorite host, Jeremy Herrell, the Hip Hop Patriot. All right? Okay, guys. God bless you. Have a great night with your families, and I will see you tomorrow.
Rebirth of America. Been a long time coming, and we all learned something that we won't ever give it up. No way. Long as I'm bleeding, I'ma never stop screaming that we first.